In this video, I want to give you 3 different reasons why I only use advanced conversational hypnosis, or ACH, in my sessions with clients. I am a full-time hypnotist. I work with clients one-on-one. That is the vast bulk of my income that I rely on. And I've done a lot of different trainings: life coaching, NLP, conversational hypnosis, from a bunch of different trainers. And yet I've settled on using only one of them. I have intentionally disregarded and set aside 90% plus of what I've ever learned about how to help my clients. Why in the world have I done that? So what I want to do in this video is share a couple of different reasons that you might think for why I've done this that actually aren't the case, but then share the real reasons afterward as well. So I'm not doing this, number one, because I think that it's the only methodology that works. I think that NLP and life coaching and things like that can work. You also might think, okay, you're not doing it that way because maybe those things you just learned later on in life, you started with ACH. It's actually the other way around. I learned all of those first, was doing sessions that way first, and then later discovered ACH and decided to replace them all. So why in the world did I give up something that works, that I had done before, that I would even say that I was good at, in exchange for one approach? In my mind, it all comes down to opportunity cost. And there are 3 specific opportunity costs. And if you're not familiar, the idea of opportunity cost is that it's not the thing itself that is the problem, but it's what it's potentially keeping you from. A classic example in a lot of ways is someone who is running one business and it's making them, say, $500,000 a year. That's what they're personally taking home from the business. And then they have this passion project on the side that is splitting their attention to some extent. And they're considering trying to kind of level that up, grow that into its own business as well. The biggest risk isn't the question of will that second passion project business fail, but it's how much will trying to pursue that take them from something that's already working. That's a classic example of opportunity cost. And for me, the first out of the 3 opportunity costs when it comes to why I only use ACH comes down to just limited ability to achieve mastery with any technique. I don't care how good you can get. I don't care how great you can get. I want to be excellent. If I'm charging someone, especially a higher price, to work with me, I want to be phenomenal at what it is that I'm doing. I want to be a master at it. And I just know that I am not capable of achieving true mastery with more than one approach. Maybe some people could do 2. I'll grant that that may be possible. But what you often see is people trying to do a lot. They're trying to combine NLP and conversational hypnosis and direct hypnosis and RTT and past live regressions and all of this stuff. And there's no way that you can possibly master all of those. And I think that for a lot of people, it comes from a place of insecurity. They think that, okay, if I don't know how to solve a problem with one tool, I can just quickly switch to another one. But oftentimes, when you feel that temptation to switch from one methodology to the next, it's because you're encountering something genuinely difficult to handle in a session. Not every session is going to be easy, and every session is going to have its harder moments. And the only way to truly get good, the only way to develop these reps, to do these reps, to get truly excellent, is to stick it out. In my mind, it's the equivalent of if you're at the gym and you're reaching your threshold for one exercise. You're trying to get to 10 reps, and you get to 8, and you say, this is hard, let me just switch to a different exercise now. It is by doing that 9th and 10th rep that you're actually developing the muscle. Those last 2 reps is where you get all the progress. And so if you're switching off of a technique right in that final stretch, right when things are getting uncomfortable, right when things are getting hard, I believe that you're losing the opportunity to develop mastery in whatever approach you were leaving once it got hard. The second opportunity cost is about your attention in the session. The problem with having multiple approaches and multiple techniques is that it does take some cognitive effort to decide which one you're going to use. And to the extent that you are inside your own head trying to decide what approach you want to take, to that same extent, you're not focused on the client. And I don't care what approach you use, what methodology you use, they would all be massively benefited by being radically present and in the moment with the client in front of you. And so if having more than one tool on your tool belt is keeping you constantly adjusting the tool belt instead of actually doing the work with your client, then I think that that is a higher opportunity cost than anything that is gained. And then the third opportunity cost comes down to a divide of sorts. I really do think it is appropriate to say that when you come to the field of conversational change work, which all these different methodologies have in common to one extent or another, you can divide them all in half. On the one hand are all the different approaches that are focused on techniques and having an approach, having a framework, having a series of steps that you take someone through. And on the other hand is learning to work without any. And so it really is kind of an all or nothing thing. People will often ask, can I combine advanced conversational hypnosis with other approaches? And on the one hand, I can see to some extent how you could do it. But on the other hand, and what I really think is no, it's impossible. You either choose to embrace each session from a place of saying, I know what my very first question is going to be. What's the problem? And then after that, it's completely up in the air. And I'm relying only on unconscious responses, unconscious moments to guide me into what to do next. It's saying I will trust my client to tell me what session they need. It's trusting my client to tell me what approach they need, what next question they need. And so it doesn't make sense to me to say that you can halfway do that you can halfway trust your client, that you can halfway trust the unconscious process. And so the opportunity cost here, if you want to call it that, is really the purity of the approach, the purity of the method. I would say that if you want to try that approach of having a bunch of different techniques and styles that you can use, then I don't see the value in including advanced conversational hypnosis in that. It's kind of like jumping from, going cliff diving into the ocean. There's really no way you can halfway do that. You either jump off or you don't. And so you don't have to stick to it permanently. You can try advanced conversational hypnosis for a while, dive into it, practice it, and then decide that some of the more traditional approaches are for you. That's completely fine. But I think that you'll save yourself a lot of headache if you come into this approach, come into this world, without the illusion of thinking it can just be one more tool you add to your tool belt. By entering into this world, you're saying that at least temporarily, you're going to try doing change work without any tools at all.